taxi rank now, and she joins us there for an update. So you've been doing a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the taxi ranks in the area in Cape Town. Monique, what's the picture in Wynberg?
Yes, as you know, this is the fourth taxi rank that we visited. We started out early this morning at Cape Town Station Deck taxi rank, where we saw many taxis lined up, many commuters happy that finally there are taxis, unlike, as you mentioned, on Friday on the first day of lockdown when that Station Deck taxi rank was completely empty. We then moved on to Bellville, where we saw a similar picture where even more taxis were lined up, and there we saw an even stricter clamping down or enforcement of those public transport regulations. We then moved on to Mowbray, and their stark contrast to what we saw at Bellville and Cape Town today, completely empty save for two Langa taxis, and commuters there were struggling because they were obviously, as one pensioner told us, they would really wanted to get to those pay points, but they were unable to because there were no buses, there were no taxis. And now we are here at Wynberg Taxi Rank, where, as you can see behind me, there are obviously taxis, there are people doing their shopping. It seems many people laden with heavy bags, trying to do their weekly shopping, it seems, and making use of the public transport at their disposal.
Now, Monique, I mean, even though the Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula had announced that public transportation regulations would be relaxed, that doesn't mean that sanitization and disinfecting practices should, of course, be relaxed. Are we seeing that from where you're standing? Because these taxis are now operating, are they ensuring that all of their taxis, as well as the ranks, are sanitized?
It doesn't seem like it from where I'm standing here at Wynberg Taxi Rank. I've peeped into some of the taxis, and not all of the taxi drivers are wearing their masks, not all of them are wearing gloves. I haven't seen many enforcing what we've seen in other provinces, that spraying on of the hand sanitizer for passengers and for the taxi drivers themselves. But what I have been seeing is not many taxis here overloading those taxis, adhering to the 7 passengers rule, including the taxi driver. So that's at least the one thing. Earlier today, when I spoke to the Western Cape Transport MEC, Bonginkosi Madikizela, he said that government had issued Santako with hand sanitizers to distribute to their taxi operators. I haven't seen it yet here at Wynberg. I haven't seen it at Mowbray, and right before I spoke to the MEC, I hadn't yet seen it at the Bellville taxi rank. So hopefully this is something that we'll see being rolled out either later today or as the week progresses.
Monique, what's the demand for public transportation like where you are right now in Wynberg? Because we know that the country is on lockdown, and therefore people who are not performing essential services, who are not going to be receiving their, social grants, really have no reason other than to just go to the local store to do a bit of grocery shopping, to be out and about. So what's the demand like for this public transport?
Tulas, as many of my colleagues have mentioned before the lockdown, not many people had been paid yet, and so from the 25th onwards, we saw a surge in people, especially in those lower to mid-income areas, rushing to the shops to do their weekly or their monthly grocery shopping, because it was then that they had been paid and were able to do this. And here in Wynberg, it's no different. Wynberg is one of those main transport hubs in Cape Town, one of those arteries directly transporting people to and from town and to and from the various areas around the city centre. And here it's no different. I mean, all around me I've seen people walking, and here to the left of me also walking with grocery bags, doing their grocery shopping, because in the main road here in Wynberg are many shops still open, many grocery stores like your ShopRite, your Pick n Pays, your meat markets, and From what I've seen elderly people being helped by one or two grandchildren, children, helping them with those heavy shopping bags. So yes, the demand for public transport is quite high. As I mentioned earlier, at Mowbray taxi rank, there were some stranded commuters desperately waiting for any sort of taxi, any sort of bus. I've just seen a police vehicle pulling up, obviously inspecting, seeing what's happening at the taxi rank, just doing a bit of a drive-through. I don't see anyone disembarking from the police vehicle to come and do the stops that we saw happening at Bellville taxi rank.
All right, Monique, just where we'll leave a conversation. Thank you so much for that update, Monique.